Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, August 4th. I'm John Weigell with Juliet, Bennett, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. We've officially milked every possible thing on this planet. Soy, almonds, oats, rice, peas, cows, of course, and apparently even fish, because humans are just kind of like that. But now pecans are having their main character moment in the alt milk universe. And honestly, it's about time that someone from the South got their shot at dairy domination. So will this shake up the milk industry? We'll get to that and the biggest business and tech headlines you gotta know right after this. All right, so about those headlines. First of all, let's talk about the Uber of dog walking. Wag, the company just went bankrupt. Once valued at $650 million, the struggling pet care app also offers dog sitting and pet insurance, and it hopes to keep offering those services as a private company post Chapter 11. Next, biometric payment startup Handwave raised $4.2 million to expand the piloting of their palm-based payment system. To make it work, it'll require a scan of lines and veins in your hand, which will then be used to create a unique secure ID, which you can use on any of their sensors. The tech, they imagine, would enable payments, age gating, check-ins, or whatever else people get scanned for these days. From there, another startup doing pretty well, golf startup Grass League got a $2.75 million infusion to hire a commissioner and supersize its content offerings. So unlike regular golf, this league plays on par 3 courses only and is a team competition entirely played at night on short-lit courses. And finally, Mr. Beast is expanding his content empire even further. The big YouTuber announced a new animated series called Mr. Beast Lab: The Descent. It'll be based on a popular toy line he launched last year, and it's going to come out in October. I will not be watching, I don't think, but it might be good. I don't know. For more headlines like that and more information about the world of business and tech, come back tomorrow and we'll have more for you. But in the meantime, let's talk pecans. Okay, Juliet. So today we're talking pecan milk and how it is the new craze. It's the newest nut milk on the market and it's kind of getting to be everywhere. So can you give me just a quick intro to pecan milk? I'm now overthinking how I'm saying pecan or pecan, but I think I'll stick with pecan.
I know, we shouldn't have discussed it beforehand.
We shouldn't have.
Or we should have 2 separate podcasts where, depending on your regional dialect, you can choose how we say it, like a Choose Your Own Adventure.
That's a good idea. Keep in mind the pecan episode will be out later today, so tune in for that.
Okay, I'm going to also say pecan.
Okay.
I grew up in a pecan environment, but I'm going to say pecan.
Very good.
Just for now.
Very high society of us, I think.
And, anyone who wants to argue with us, please tell us how to pronounce it and why.
Yes, please.
Anyhow, as we all know, people are actually drinking more real dairy these days, cow's milk, but we've still got a $21.1 billion alternative milk market that's probably never going to go away. Some of us are vegan. Some of us, even if we wish we could have milk, cannot. I found a stat that said 68% of the world's population has lactose malabsorption. That may not mean that they cannot drink any milk, but it might mean that it's a little easier to do something else in your latte.
Yeah, sure.
So we've talked about a lot of alternative milks on this podcast. We've talked about everything from almond and soy and coconut, which is fairly ordinary, to fish. Yes, there is a company that makes milk out of powdered fish. That's the thing.
Both of those words together, fish and milk, just do not make me feel good. Stomach kind of hurts a little bit, actually.
I don't like it. Pecans are honestly one of the least weird things. Fish is like the outlier, but even in terms of peas and mushrooms and all sorts of other things, hemp, I think pecan is definitely something that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
The reason it's having a moment, there are a couple things here, which I find very interesting. One, everyone loves almond milk, right?
Yes.
In the alternative milk Olympics, the winner is always almond milk. People love it. Unless you really love the taste of coconuts, people love almonds. But there are problems with almonds, and that is you got to have a lot of almonds to make almond milk.
Yes,
and that requires a lot of water. I think something like 80% of the world's almonds are grown in California, which, as you know, is prone to drought. So it's not a very sustainable product. Pecans are a lot different. They are both nuts, but they're different. Pecans are actually drought tolerant, consume way less water. And one thing that's really interesting about them is that they are actually native to the US. There's a lot of nuts that are not native to the US that we want to grow here just because we want to grow them here. And so that requires a lot of modifications to the terrain and the environment. Not pecans. A lot of pecans are actually grown in Texas and regions down there. One thing that I thought was also really interesting that I learned in a Fast Company article is that Pecans are apparently wind pollinated.
Oh.
And other crops that are not require you to ship in bees, but not pecans.
Wow.
So they just actually need much less to grow, which is why they are a more sustainable crop.
That's crazy.
So, your carbon footprint on pecan milk is actually much less than almond milk.
Sounding pretty good for pecan milk, the case for it, because I do know that it takes a lot of water to create almond milk and to create almonds in general. So, I mean, that alone is a good enough reason to kind of switch over to this alt milk, I guess.
Yes.
So what companies are taking advantage of pecans? Who's making it? I personally actually haven't seen pecan milk yet on grocery shelves near me in New York, which is kind of surprising to me, but maybe I just haven't looked hard enough.
So I have seen it, and I've seen it at Erewhon. There's three main players, though. I'm like 90% certain that I saw some at Erewhon, which is, of course, a place where you would see something like that.
100%. I'm sure they have milks that I've never even heard of before there.
But you can also find them at Whole Foods, I believe. You can order them online. But there are three major players in the game. One is called Pecan. I'm going to guess this is how you pronounce it because it's capital P, capital K, capital N. I'm going to assume that's just pronounced Pecan. The founder, Laura Shankar, was inspired when studying a drought-prone region of Texas. And apparently, there are a bunch of farmers there growing alfalfa, which also sucks up all the water, like almonds. They weren't doing pecans. And she's like, well, why not? And they're like, well, it's not lucrative.
What if we made it lucrative?
Right.
Yeah.
Pecana is founded by third-generation pecan farmer Courtney Chase. That is a company that sources pecans from its own farms in Texas. And Treehouse Naturals was actually founded in Georgia by Bess Wayant and Kate Carter in 2015. And they actually, this is something that I have noticed too, a lot of milks, especially alternative milks, have other stuff in them, gums, thinners, flavors, whatever. They were noticing a lack of almond milk that had minimal ingredients in their local grocery stores, and they founded their own pecan milk company as well. So those are the three big players in the game right now.
Yeah, I have noticed a lot of these alternative milks have other things. Like there was that big issue with oat milk and Oatly specifically about adding like xanthium gum, I believe it was, into like the oat milk. So now for Oatly, at least they have the regular Oatly and then they also have like a simplified version without the gums and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's a big issue in a lot of alternative proteins in general. When you're cutting into a Beyond Burger and it bleeds, I mean, that's just additives.
Yeah.
The creaminess a lot of times in these fake milks is additives. Unfortunately, this is why I was at Erewhon. I had to be on like this weird diet and they were like, you have almond milk, but it has to just be like almonds and water. And if you want that, you got to go to Erewhon, unfortunately, where they sell $20 single strawberries. Yes.
Oh, God.
Or Whole Foods. But yeah, so I mean, that is a big thing. And we've seen there was kind of a backlash against oat milk for a while where people were like, we love oat milk, but do we?
Right.
Because is it actually healthier? Now that everything is protein, we're seeing a resurgence in people going back to dairy milk. The thing about pecans, another notch in its favor, is that it is a very nutritious nut.
Yeah. And it seems like from what you wrote here that a lot of reviewers also enjoyed it.
Right. And you know what? That's not surprising because you know what? Pecans are good.
They are good. I love a pecan pie.
Yes. And think about the applications in which you would use a pecan. A pie, an ice cream, topping for a salad. They have sort of a rich buttery taste. Now you take something that kind of tastes like pecans and you put it in a latte. Great, it works. You put it in your coffee, great, it works. You put it in your cereal, great, it works. Granola, great, it works.
Yeah.
Now, something like pea or hemp or mushroom. I actually recently had a mushroom coffee and I was like, I love mushrooms and I don't like this because it's not what I'm looking for in the taste. I'm looking for something sweeter, something that offsets coffee better.
Right.
So I think pecan is kind of a very natural flavor to go along with a dairy product. So I think there's a lot of promise in the pecan milk industry, especially when we're seeing a lot of the alternative proteins, alternative meats, alternative cheeses sort of flounder right now with people not adopting it. And one of the biggest barriers to adoption is going to be taste. Always. Like if you're lactose intolerant, you're going to drink whatever because you can't have milk. But if you have a choice, I think it's always going to be what tastes the best.
Right. And also price.
Yeah.
Price is important as well.
Taste and price. That's the other thing about the alternative proteins. A lot of times they cost more than just getting milk, than just getting beef.
Right.
I did do a little bit of a price comparison. Now, you can't do price comparisons at Erewhon because you are paying for the privilege of being in an Erewhon with the coolest people in all of Pasadena.
The coolest.
But it's actually only a buck or two more. And honestly, I'm all about trying it. And a lot of these companies do make special coffee creamers. They do have the minimal ingredients, but they also have the flavors. I'm very tempted by Treehouse Naturals, I believe, as a praline creamer that I would 100% try.
Praline?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there you go.
Pecans, milk. Let's go.
Tell us how to say it. It's like GIF GIF.
It is GIF GIF.
There's no right way.
No.
But I bet someone's going to argue that there is.
I'm sure there will be arguments, hopefully, in the comments.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage and pecans in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily. We'll catch you later. Okay, look, side hustles fail when they consume all of your time. I mean, every single bit of it. The pros, though, work smarter with AI doing all the heavy lifting. To help you out, we just dropped the Side Hustle Accelerator database. You can search your exact problem for your side hustle, grab the perfect prompt, and get results. If you're struggling with marketing, content, and customer service, it's all solved in just seconds. This isn't just another tool, guys. It's your unfair advantage in a spreadsheet. So stop asking AI the wrong questions and start scaling with what actually works. You can get it for free in the link in our show notes. And you can stop right now, actually. Why don't you take a look down at those show notes and tap the link? You don't want to sleep on this.